Wake up in the morning, having tea with myself. I make a plan out for the day, the week, the year, and then I kind of set it out there and say, now how we're going to get there, I'm not sure, but it's there.
That's one of the biggest things that holds people back.
If you don't know the steps to success, of course you'll have more self-doubt.
Rise and shine!
It's Entspresso time!
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I am not a morning person, but when you start your day with an inspiring morning routine that gets you going, like maybe watch one of these videos, it will change your life. So let's start your day off right together. Grab your coffee, know that I believe in you, and get ready for a shot of Entspresso from Matthew McConaughey.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
I'm probably much more intentional than people would think I am. I make choices. I invest in them. I work on them, and I don't choose to really share a lot of that. That's my own private time. I try and do the work, whether it's personally, whether it's on a roll, whatever, so I can then appear like I'm blowing in the wind. I call it create your own weather so you can blow in the wind. It's about conservative, early, liberal, late. Thing I was talking about. You see what sandbox you're playing in. Any glass in here? No, no glass. Okay, there's the boundaries. That's the rules. Okay. Now, get four-dimensional in the sandbox. Now, blow in the breeze.
Right.
You know, give me I choose my direction. We're going east, we're going north, we're going south, or we're going west. All right, I got it. This character's going east. Well, now, you got 16 lanes to swerve in. Take an exit. All you got to do to get there, we don't know how we're going to get there. We may have a long pit stop at the gas station, we may pull off somewhere, we may stop. But one thing we're not going to do is pull a U-turn and go the other way. Stay in the same direction and swerve all you want. That's the liberal late. That's the blow in the wind. So I do my pre-production work, whether it's yearly, whether it's when I wake up in the morning having tea with myself. I make a plan out for the day, the week, the year, and then I kind of set it out there and say, now how we're going to get there, I'm not sure, but it's there. And I'm happy to say that so many of my goals and dreams that I've had, 19 out of 20 that I wrote down in 1988, I completely forgot about them. Completely forgot about them. I pulled a diary out last year, and 19 out of 20 I'd done. And never once remember specifically saying, you need to go do that. So it was in there.
Right.
Somehow I was going after them and getting them, but I never remember trying to go get them.
So I just had Matthew on the channel. We did an interview on my main channel, and how I led the interview was I said, you seem to be like a modern day Texan Bruce Lee. And he started laughing at that. And he doesn't know anything about me, probably going into the interview. And I always love leading up the interviews with some kind of personal statement or just a personal connection. And so that's the first thing that came to mind when I was watching his content and prepping. He is not like a lot of other actors that we've profiled. He has this Bruce Lee side to him. It was the best thing I could think of is you're Bruce Lee, but put into today and Texan. He's an actor. He is a philosopher. He's a student. And even though he's not a world-renowned martial artist, in his book, he does talk about him taking on African tribal wrestling champions. And so he's got that athletic side to him. And he laughed at it, but in watching his video back now after having done the interview with him, it's funny that one of the things that Bruce Lee is most known for is be like water. And here's Matthew saying, create your own weather. Similar message. I wish I had learned that. I wish I had this. Like now I'm thinking, oh, I wish I brought that up. If I had that as part of my research, I wish I had brought that up. What I love about Matthew, this line, the interview I did with him, is the willingness to set the goal, but then the fun. He has a lot of fun. He plays a lot. He's unafraid to just go after it. And I think for too many of us, myself included, we don't play enough. We don't have enough fun. We don't take the risk that's in our head. And one of the things that I'm constantly trying to work on is that idea to action, right? That when I come up with an idea, I'm going to do something about it. And it's especially hard when other people are involved. It's especially hard in an interview. I'm sitting there talking to Matthew, asking him about his career. We spent an hour together, and we'll link up the video at the end of this video. And as ideas come to me, he constantly judged the question. Like, ooh, I don't know, should I ask that question? Should I ask that question or not? Is that a good question? Is he gonna be offended by the question? Should I keep pulling on this thread? Is that a good question to ask, or should I move on to the next topic? It's this constant kind of track going on in the back of my head. And what I've learned to do more and more and more and more is just trust the question. It came to you for a reason. It may not make sense, but trust the question. If the intention is good, right? The intention isn't to make him look bad or anybody else look bad, right? The intention is good. The intention is positive. This question came to me for a reason. Trust it. Do something on it. And I think that's one of the biggest things that holds people back is you get these ideas in the moment, like, what if I did this? And you don't trust it. And then it maybe disappears, or maybe you look back and say, I wish I did that. This is why I started my first business. I actually didn't think it was going to work out. When I was 19, I had to choose between making $300 a month and owning 30% in this company, or making 6 figures at what I thought was my dream job, banking and traveling around the world. I didn't think or know. I wasn't like, yes, this business is for sure going to work out. This business is for sure going to be my big exit. I'm going to make tons of money. It was more, I didn't want to regret not knowing that even if the most likely scenario was failure, I still had to know. And I would rather know and fail than not know. And what I've learned to do over the past 20 years, I guess, and still continue, when I get a question in my head or an idea in my head, there's still a moment of hesitation. And that's what I'm constantly working on getting rid of. That idea to action, immediate, faster, 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 faster. That this idea came to me for a reason. That I have to at least try. That I have to at least take the first 2%, the 2% difference. Right? Stop planning for 100% and just take action on the first 2%. That I have to try. That I have to at least get a taste of it instead of prejudging it, instead of telling myself that it's not going to work out. That as long as the intention is good and the intention is to serve and to help, that I need to try. You can always back up from it, right? Like if I asked a question that offended him, I could always explain where it came from. I can always explain the intent. The worst case scenario isn't that bad. It's not that bad. You can almost always make it up to somebody. Versus the upside of actually doing it and it works out. And what you find is if you continue to listen to that intuition, if you continue to listen to your big ideas, if you continue to ask the questions that you want to ask, do the thing that you want to do, you'll find a much happier life. You'll find a much more impactful life, a much more purposeful life. And I think that's the life you deserve. Now I've got a really special bonus cup that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you watch a video and just get motivated, the sign says you have a 35% chance of actually doing something. And that's terrible. I want you to get to a greater number. When you actually create a plan, you get motivated, you have a plan, you have a 91% chance of following through. And when you have a plan, you get motivated to plan and you commit to somebody else, you have a 95% chance of following through. So I want to celebrate you. I want to know your single biggest takeaway, and write down in the comments below your plan of action for the next week so you can follow through and we can celebrate with you too. Also, if you want to have more self-love and self-belief, check out my 254 series. The sign says it can take up to 254 days of consecutive action to build a habit. So if you want to build your self-belief, I've designed a free program where I will send you a video every day for free. The link to join is in the description below.
My call time is at 7. Then you back your clock up 4 hours, and then that's when I get up.
The way to improve lives is to continually improve yourself.
A lot of people have self-doubt in their lives because they don't have clarity for what they want. A lot of people wander in a situation and they have a lot of self-doubt because they didn't sit down and plan it out. They didn't prepare. They didn't ask mentors or model others or do the research to figure out, okay, I should do A, B, C, D, and E. In other words, if you don't know the steps to success, of course you'll have more self-doubt. If you don't have the plan, if you don't have the map, if you don't know what you're doing, of course you're gonna have more self-doubt. So part of it is just like decide to build a plan. Even if you have to ask for help and say, hey guys, how would you do this? What would be your first step? What would be your second step? I'm always asking that. Even at this stage of my career, I'm still saying, hey guys, if you're gonna launch this, how would you do it? If you're gonna promote that, how would you do it? If you're gonna create this thing, how would you do it? If you're gonna build this team or build that business, what would you do? And I always try to get the map before I enter the woods so that I have the steps, I know the path. Because if you can remove the doubt about the path, you'll have more confidence in yourself.
If you want to see my recent one-on-one with Matthew McConaughey, check out my interview right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Sometimes it's not about what decision you make, just make one and commit to it. Self-determination and fate, intentionality and trust. I mean, it's always a balance of those two.